Okay, folks, welcome to the Ask for Help Boost Bespoke program. Today's webinar is on how to generate sales through LinkedIn lead generation. And we're going to spend the next 45 minutes going through that, and then there'll be questions at the end. If you want to ask a question during the webinar, just put it through on chat, and make sure you address all panelists, and or address to everybody actually, so everybody can see your question. Then I'll try and pick up those as I go along, but can't promise. Okay. So as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, Boost Lancashire have got together, and whereas before you had to have growth strategies or intentions to grow, now it's all about developing resilience and helping as many businesses as we can in East Lancashire. I was on a call earlier on, and apparently we've worked now with over 5,000 in something like 6 weeks. I guess those are attendees of webinars and so on, but we've managed to touch 5,000 businesses in 6 weeks, which I find is phenomenal. A bit of housekeeping. We're in a webinar, so your microphone will be on mute. Please use chat to ask questions. Keep anything positive and professional. The blue writing at the bottom of the slides are suggested actions for you. We will be asking questions, which you'll answer through chat. Do write your actions throughout the webinar. This is packed, and as I say, we'll answer questions at the end. Please note this webinar is being recorded and will be made publicly available afterwards. If you would like the slides, please fill in the feedback form, and Louise will send you the slide deck. Okay. Quick brief overview of myself. I've worked with over 400 companies in the last 19 years. Working with my daughter, I own a hybrid digital marketing agency where we both coach, train, support, but also project manage and deliver. So we walk the talk. I've been an associate winning pitch for 6 years. I've worked with technology since 1984, so I've pretty much seen it all and done it. Currently got 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, which, by the way, is the maximum. So you'll leave the webinar understanding why LinkedIn can't be ignored, understand the term conversational marketing and why that is important, the importance of good profile, how to post engaging content, how to generate new leads for your business, how to use content to get inquiries, and learn more about the advertising opportunities. Okay, so using chat, whilst I'm talking, if you'd like to tell me whether you use LinkedIn to create a brand with regular posts, whether you promote your expertise through articles, whether you drive visitors to your site through your posts, engage with posts with other key contacts, so know what you're doing, connect with new prospects, find new prospects, or an active user of Sales Navigator. So if you'd like to type into chat how you use it, that'd be really good. Thank you. Okay, so a bit of background. All right, just messages started to come through. So promote new brand, video and articles to drive people to the site. Video is working very well at the moment on LinkedIn. Find and connect with new prospects. We do all of the above except Navigator. I'm trying to build my LinkedIn, so I'm starting to build useful connections, articles as a directory. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so we're going to look at the history. So a quick look at the history of social media. Now, some of you will have experienced all of it. Some of you will experience some of it. I think a lot of us, it crept up on us. But certainly as we're now into lockdown and then restricted movements through social distance, etc. afterwards, it's going to be an essential business tool, and that's why I wanted to do a webinar on LinkedIn, but it is incredible what has changed. Okay, so these are the people who don't believe that social media isn't used very much. So the average person spends 24 hours a week on social media, but 1 in 5 adults spend 40 hours on it. And if you think, if you're generating business, you're messaging, and you're working with, you're pushing your brand out there, you're getting noticed and so forth. So it's exactly the same as if you're new networking and so on. And so you are going to spend the hours on it. And these days, it's for a lot of people, it's the only option you've got if you're going to go out and find new business. So some impressive stats: 675 million users and growing, 61 million senior level influencers, and 40 million decision makers. And Google claim that nearly half of all buyers now are millennials. They do make up 35% of the workforce. And by definition, millennials are deemed to be digitally native, whereas people like myself have had to learn it as it's grown. These guys, that's all they know. They don't know, the alternatives. So, what the other thing about today is that you've got to remember that it's a numbers game. Sales is really a numbers game. If you're out there developing new business, it's the number of doors you knock on, and hopefully the way you knock on those doors and talk to people that get you the business. But it is numbers. So, HubSpot, a very respected content marketing agency, looked at, if you're only looking for, if you won't achieve your revenue goals, if you've less than 50 new opportunities, 51 to 100 will get you some more, and just 4% get when they're doing over 100 to 200. What we're having to do a lot more of is 7 in 10 buyers are watching videos. If you're doing any Facebook advertising, you need to be using video. What we're finding on LinkedIn, we're doing posts which are little mini videos, which then point people back to our websites. We've just doubled the number of views and engagement for a client where we've included like a little 3-stage mini video, and you're going to see more of that, and that you're seeing a lot more people putting a camera in front of them and actually talking directly to you from LinkedIn. Okay, so one of the things that, if you're not aware of, you need to be aware that customers do go on a journey. But one of the issues for a lot of people is that the salesperson is getting later and later on in the process, around the decision time. Whereas ideally, a salesperson wants to be talking to you when you're aware you've got a problem and help you develop the interest and so forth. So by using posts and links to your website, you can get hopefully engagement further up the sales funnel. If you're waiting for them to give you a call through or contact you through your web chat, then you're too late in the chain. I've sometimes gone into a meeting where somebody I recommended to late on in the process, and this chap said to me, "Well, you're the last one through the door. You've got 10 minutes to prove whether you're any good or not." Well, I did win the job, but it wasn't a great experience, because I had to live with a few things that ideally, if I'd been involved early on in the decision-making process, I could have advised them better. So just be aware that social media now is to help you get further up the consideration chain. So here's stats. So buyers want to connect with the salesperson, only 20% of the time at awareness stage, quite a lot at consideration stage, but that's where they've actually solved their problem. are now looking for a solution. What would be good is if you could get at the stage where they're looking at the problem and you can help them define their problem better. So just if you pop into chat how you communicate with, how prospective buyers communicate with you. Do they email you? Do they fax you? Do they get a friend to talk? Do they contact you by friend or come through LinkedIn, your website? How do you communicate with your prospects? So all email normally. Anybody through LinkedIn? Okay, we've got somebody with a phone and email. Oh wow, this is good. Somebody from a Facebook group we've created. That's well done. Mike sometimes uses LinkedIn. So Natasha uses it occasionally. Okay. Okay. This is for those people who believe that it may be a silver bullet. It's not. It is a lot of effort. It's just like if you're doing networking or telemarketing or any form of outreach activity, you've got to be consistent and you've got to do it sort of sufficient to create the numbers. Okay, so I'm going to look at a bit of supporting theory. On LinkedIn, one of the things you probably all hate about it is that you'll get people who simply pitch at you. They simply write to you, message you, or they'll email you with, hey, I'm the best accountant since sliced bread. That's wrong. They don't know you need accountant services. They're just blasting away at you with a shotgun approach. Well, that won't get you very far. Now, this book that I've got, that I was trying to find, there's a book called Conversational Marketing, but it is quite heavy reading. So I wanted to try books that sort of explain the questioning process that you must do. So exactly as you would in a network, when you approach somebody, you find out what their situation is, what do they do and so forth. And then you might say, well, how's business? And then they may say, well, I'm in real problems with my accountant. And then if you're an accountant, you can say, well, okay, what sort of problems? Cash flow? Are they not giving you reports? And you can slowly dig down to the point where they say, well, yeah, he's not doing this, they're not doing that. And you say, well, okay, it's time for a coffee, I guess. And it's exactly the same conversation. Now, the spin selling, it adds a bit more sophistication to it, but that's essentially it. The only problem with this book is that the examples in it are 1995, which do take some of the relevance of the examples away. But the actual process and the questioning process, I think, are still very much relevant. So fundamentals for success. For lead generation, engagement's key. You need to be curious. You need to provide insights and educate. So it's about sharing your expertise. You need content that people like and share. And the idea is to build build trust in you as an expert, and then, of course, be found when needed. So LinkedIn process, it is integrated with digital marketing. It's part of a system, a mix. You need an effective profile. You need engaging articles, posts, and video. You need outwardly engaging with others, connect with your target market. So if you're selling computers to schools, then that's what you should focus on, and that's what you should be talking about. And you want to educate your market. People want to learn, especially at the moment. People are very much in learning mode. People are trying to learn how to pivot their companies, how to take different directions and so forth. So everybody's busily learning. And of course, measure your performance. What worked last time? Can I do better? Can I make it work better again? And obviously repeat the process. So I put this overly complicated diagram up for you because it's actually, if you're actually doing your digital marketing properly, you will be using all of these components. And this is typically what we have to do for a client. I don't think sometimes people appreciate the amount of work that has to go into making everything join up so that the customer has you've got all parts of the sales funnel covered. Okay, so type into chat which person you'd like to work with. So we've got the chap here, nice photo, but he's got some of his face exposed. You've got another chap, sort of a nice bright image. You've got C, where there's no image, they've not done anything with the background. This guy looks a bit aloof, but nice tie, looking cool. And then you've got somebody who's just with a logo, with a chap with hands in his pockets. So we've got B is a favourite so far. Yeah, all coming up with Bs. So you're all, for me, all on the right path. Thank you for that. Okay, your profile. You need to get your profiles look as best looking as you can. So make sure you've got a banner of whatever kind, and make sure it sort of reflects what you want to do. I'm not a great fan of I generate leads or I do this or I do that for clients. You kind of need your profile to be found. So I prefer to stuff it with keywords. Richard's saying change his profile now. Nice one. This is a new box, is providing services. It's another chance for you to keyword stuff your profile. Because at the end of the day, you want to be found. Obviously, it needs to look right. And, I prefer to have the name of the town. All right, I've chosen Manchester as opposed to more, because I actually live in Wigan. But I would put something in there as opposed to just United Kingdom. I've made a decision recently just to go out to connect with local people. So if you're not in the Northwest, I probably won't connect with you. But if you are in the Northwest, I will. Make sure you really work well on your about section. Make sure that you've got a nice summary. And don't forget, it's not about you, it's about the company, it's about your customers. You're not looking for a job, you're looking to tell people how you're going to help them. Okay. So posting on to your content. So regular posts, link to articles on your website, for me, is the best way. There is the article section here. Yes, put one on there, but don't go mad. I did have an article strategy. I put about 20 odd up there, and when I first did it, it was great. Loads of likes, loads of views, etc. But for some reason, LinkedIn's feed, which shows what you see in your when you log into LinkedIn, for some reason doesn't favour them. If you're going to get traffic to your website, which is what I'd recommend, you do posts, and also make sure you use hashtags. On the previous ones, people said, "Well, I get all sorts of rubbish in my feed." You can specify in your profile which hashtags you follow, and if you click on customers and prospects, you route them out a few times, they will appear regularly so that you don't have to go rooting them out. The link I have 30,000 followers, and if I got all their information, then I'd be drowned. And about 2-3 years ago, they changed the process. If you're with a group of people, set up a WhatsApp group. So when you do send out a post, make sure you share it, and that'll then boost the engagement and number of views. You've got about 2 hours from when you post something. If you get 4 or 5 likes and comments, then your post will go on to get more views. And as it gets more engagement, you'll get more views. So I had a rant about HMRC a little while ago, and it got 5,000 views because basically everybody jumped on it and agreed with me. have a content schedule. You know, all right, this is for a full-on social media campaign, but you know, we post out good articles on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and then subsidiary ones Monday and Friday. Occasionally, when I'm bored, I'll do something 7 o'clock Sunday morning, and all for business owners, and that gets quite a lot of traffic because a lot of business owners work between 7 and 10 on Sunday mornings before the families get up. If you are stuck with only able to do one post a week, then go for one of these midweek days. And if you really don't have enough time, then make sure you post something at least once a month, but make it interesting. Make it a link to an expert article and so forth. So now it'll just sit on your profile, but at least look like the profile isn't dead. Oh, sorry, 3 posts. Somebody said 3 posts a day. No, 3 posts a week is normal. 3 posts a week. 1 a day max. Okay, if you're not sure what your customers are looking for, there's a thing called answerthepublic.com. Type in there your subject and so forth, and it'll give you an insight into sort of some of the questions that people might ask about your subject. Really useful tool, and it's free. You need to do keyword research. As I did mention about putting the keywords for your whatever you do in your profile. Well, how do you know which keywords people are actually looking for? Now, up until very recently, last week, Neil Patel had a free Uber Suggest. It is still free, but there's a limited number of searches now. The pro version is £29 a month. But if you're just doing a bit of exploration, then you should be able to use the free version to get enough information to find out the keywords you need. The pro version is £29. The alternatives are Moz, SEMrush, and Ahrefs. They're all £99 a month. So it is still very cheap, and it does work well. And that will help you understand. Again, type in, if you want, type in your best competitors' domain into that, into this bit here, and you'll find out what keywords they're ranking for. In this case, we were looking at, we're doing some work with an industrial manufacturer for desiccant rotors for desiccant dehumidifiers. So we use that tool. We actually pay for this tool because it is good. Okay, content sharing. You need to think about your audience. You need to have a content plan. It's only 1 a month. You need to post regularly. Find suitable images and videos. Stock photos are okay. Just make sure the royalty free. Sorry, for commercial use. If you are putting articles onto your website, minimum of 500 words. I might change the slide to 900 words. Ideally, we're looking for more like 2,000 words to get actual traction. The shorter the articles. On LinkedIn itself, I would just keep it quite short, where you post on the articles there. If people do comment and share on your stuff, please engage with them. Talk, because as you have that conversation, that'll increase the number of views, because LinkedIn will say, "Oh yeah, it's an interesting article." Experiment, but please measure. We made some changes for a client where we introduced these mini videos, and we measured before and afterwards, and we almost got a hockey stick type reaction with far more engagement. And be agile. Think about the minimum you can do to make it happen. This is working smarter, not harder. Okay, so we've got the usual question of, do I use the free version or do I upgrade to Sales Navigator? Well, if you remember early on, I talked about you needing the volume. Well, you're only going to get the volume with Sales Navigator. Yes, it is $59.99 a month, but if you're serious about winning business, you've got to think, you only need presumably one or two inquiries, or one inquiry, and that should pay for the navigator itself. So just as out of interest, put into chat which version of LinkedIn you're using. Or the free versions. Okay, nobody's using Sales Navigator. Okay, so this is where Sales Navigator really comes into its own with search. You can get, don't forget, for those on the free version and want to know a bit more what I'm talking about, then you can upgrade to Sales Navigator for a month. Just make sure you cancel it before the first thing kicks in. So find yourself some time. I know that can be tricky, but and give it a go. Get this slide deck by sending Louise your feedback forms. So you need to know your geography. Where are you targeting? Who are you targeting? Which sector? Company size, or the SMEs? 1 to 20, 20 to 50. Job title, financial director. So I was looking for sort of computer type services for a company in the Northwest, targeting small to medium sized companies. And what's their pain? Well, it's about making people secure, the security of people working from home, because that's a huge issue. So that might be the pain of these people, and so you need to ask questions around that pain. The clearer you are on all these, the better for success. You need to have a very clear image of what your prospect looks like, what they're doing, and what problems they're having with their job, and make sure that the pain you go after is one you can fix. And for LinkedIn, you do decent numbers. You're looking at, in the old days, you used to send a letter out, a mail shot out, where you might have, to 100 people, you'd expect two responses back. Well, LinkedIn is pretty much the same as that. We've been doing this for quite a few years now, and we'll get 100 connections, but you'll only get 1 or 2 people actually responding. And it's interesting, you think, oh, well, maybe that's just, we're not doing it right. But we then did some analysis of e-commerce sites. And actually it takes 100 visitors to an e-commerce site to get 1 or 2 sales. There's something about that stat. And if I was a human psychologist, I'd look into that more. But I did find that fascinating. Okay, so generating leads. So using Sales Navigator, because you can do that, to be fair, you can do this with the free one, but you only get about 15 searches. And by the time you've experimented, you've soon burnt through those. So search for individuals based on the customer profile, connect with them, always add a personal note. Hey, I've seen you do this. And we use an automated system called Dux Soup, D-U-X Soup. And we say, hey, we'd love to network with you. Is that okay? And generally that is. We don't usually get any smart aleck answers for that one. And most people, probably about half of the people who request, do connect. Start the conversation with open questions, which we'll dig into later. And then you're going to qualify them in or out. Do they have a pain you can solve? If they don't, move on. It's a bit like a networking room. You spend a bit of time talking to somebody, find out what their challenges are, or who they're having the network who may have those challenges. And if you don't feel you're making any progress, you move on. And the one that things one thing that that you need to close on is a phone call. I've tried Zoom, I've tried having coffees. Everybody's too busy now, and of course, obviously, we can't go out. But a Zoom call is even today is still too committing. So be prepared to say, "Oh, can I just give you a quick call to find out more about, what we've been discussing?" At that point, you haven't pitched. Do never ever pitch on LinkedIn. You'll close down the questions. So same as physical networking, You don't start pitching as soon as you meet them. You open questions to qualify them, and think about the questions. Can it be answered too quickly? So what's your favourite book is too open. What was the last book you read? It's a bit more refined, a bit more targeted. So be specific. After the webinar, look up sales funnel questions, so that it's a bit like a good lawyer. You ask questions where you know the answer, hopefully. I say only close on a call to action when you know they can help them, and keep it light. Telephone call. Where you can use it to drive people to webinar signups, or what we're doing is free app sign up, but something that's very low committing. So conversational marketing preparation. Identify three problems clients experience which you can fix. So you know what your client is, you know the industry and so forth. What are their three top problems? And then write down a solution. How are you going to fix that pain and the associated impact? What benefit are you going to get? What's the benefit of working with you? And what difference, what return are they going to get if they do work with you? And then, if you can, write down 3 associated client stories. So if you just pop into chat the biggest problem and desire that you can fix. What is it you fix for people? What is the pain you fix? Not the feature, but at their end. Get employees more engaged. Client needs more work to make more profit off the work they do. So legal services. So that's the actual sort of feature, the world's probate. It's what is the pain? So if somebody's died, probate. So you're looking for people who or let's take the equity lease. It's a bit nicer. So the equity release is the feature. People who want to get equity release, a lot of their pain is they need the money. So increased productivity, better equipment. So their pain will be their productivity is down, and they're looking to figure out how to fix the productivity. Their problems, low productivity. Not that they need better equipment, but hopefully by asking about productivity, you can then talk to them about maybe using better equipment as one of the solutions to that. And so online CPD in special education. So the problem there, I know Richard's business, it's the teachers don't have the qualifications in mainstream to support special education. So another Nick talking about getting back to work safely. So it's the problem, the pain is how do I get my staff back to work safely with the new social distancing. So hopefully that gives you an idea. You're digging for the pain, not selling them whatever it is you sell them. So personal note, when requesting a connection, so we use this all the time. It works, doesn't upset anybody. It came across your profile from, and then because we're using specialist software, it'll drop that company name in, it will drop their personal name in, and well, you're interested in network, is that okay? And that works. It's fine. Obviously, if you can do a personal note that's highly relevant to them, so say, hey, I've met you on the webinar. So if somebody was sort of wanting to connect me from the webinar, they could say, hey, I saw you on the webinar. Like to ask you a few questions, whatever. I'd like to connect. Yeah, you're going to get your chances of connection are a lot higher. I'd say you're probably about 50-50 if you just say, I'd like to network. Use the how and what to ask questions when you're digging for the pain, not why. Why is interrogative. So a conversation with a supply chain expert might go along the lines of, what visibility do you have over your supply chain? The contact might say, well, they do say, oh, we have a limited view. So you have to put a context. We use specialist software to analyze supply chains, which greatly improves visibility. So that's the context. There's no pitch in there. There's no we don't use excellent or anything like that. It's very factual. Would it be possible to have a chat to find out more about your challenges? So you're setting yourself up as a specialist who can do all this stuff, and would it be possible to have a chat to find out more? You're digging for the pain. Better offline than online, because the more it goes backwards and forwards, the more chance you have of losing the thread. So you've got to be curious. This only works if you're curious, and then close on a call, as mentioned. So a few pros and tips. Clearly defined target audience, clearly defined pain, and your solution addresses that pain. You have a low commitment to the start of your process. This is quite important these days. Free diagnostic, free chat is always good. You know, we're closing on things like free apps and so forth. Ideally, if you're using LinkedIn for this, you're going to end up in a phone call. You do have easy access to supporting information. Somebody may go, oh, could you send me a link to that? Or if you've got a PDF or whatever. I mean, personally, these days, you should have a good website with all the content on that you need. And then you should be able to email a link to a page over. So that if you get into a conversation that's got flow, because sometimes this does happen, you can be on a LinkedIn conversation and having a chat. If you haven't got information to hand, then the whole lot will fall apart and you'll have lost the moment. Make sure you've got social proof on your LinkedIn profile. And as I say, I'll repeat again, do not pitch on LinkedIn. Okay, with Sales Navigator, you do get a dashboard. It shows you what activity you've been doing, shows how many people have viewed your profile. We'd only just launched a post when I took this screenshot, so it only got 76 views, and I've appeared 225 times, primarily because my profile is keyword stuffed for what I do. And this is your social selling index. It's a way of LinkedIn telling you how well it thinks you're doing on LinkedIn. So finding prospects to find you. So this is the nirvana of LinkedIn. If you can put engaging content up, so Carl's stuff from Allied Pipe Freezing is all about all this pipe freezing stuff. This particular post got 101 likes and 4,500 views. It's called engineering porn because engineers like to look at widgets and gadgets and so forth. I'm an engineer, so I'm allowed to say that. And you know, the next step for us is to do some more video for him because I think that will do him better. But the reason why he gets 4,500 views is we've worked with him quite a long time, and he's now got over 9,000 connections, which are all highly relevant. And after this particular post, he got 3 jobs. This is one where we'd done some filming, and this was the outtakes, and that did particularly well as well. This is what I was telling you about with the HMRC. It's when the government said, "Oh, well, you can just cancel your VAT direct debit, and you know you can have the VAT money for 12 months whilst you get through the mess." It's a good thing. If you've not done it, yeah, I do it. I put the money into a savings account just so that I don't see it as my money, but it's there just in case I have a problem. It's not going to cost me anything, and I'll pay it back next year. This post actually went to over 5,000. I did the screenshot at 4,287. It went over 5,000 in the end. I was working with Sam Coggin up at the Coggin Group. They do remanufactured furniture. rebrand it and everything, and had the challenge of how do we sell a chair or promote a sort of reused, remanufactured chair. So I said, put your lovely dog on it. So you film the dog, and so as he talked about the chair, they looked at the dog. He got about 3 jobs out of this, which was great for what took about a few minutes just to film it and talk it through. Mike's asking, could you only your connections see your post? No, that's the point. If you can get it, if you can get enough, say 5 or 6 likes and comments on a post, it will be seen by other people. Initially, it's only seen by your own connections, but once LinkedIn see that people like it and are commenting and interacting with it, it will then go on to get a lot more views. But it'll only do that once you've got momentum. So this clearly got momentum. I mean, Sam has got a good connections anyway, but he did well out of that. This is my daughter. She, as a bit of fun, she talked about sort of the fact her boyfriend bought her a weighted vest for. She's a CrossFit athlete, but she then went on to develop that turned it into a business post. This got 45,000 views, and once it got momentum, it really took off. We couldn't believe the speed. It took a bit to get over 10,000, but once it got that, it really, we got 2 or 3 inquiries off that post. So some other features. I think if I was doing this in 12 months' time, because so many more people are going to be jumping on LinkedIn, because they're all changing their ways of getting touching people and so forth, we're going to have to do what's called pay to play. That means we're going to have to pay if we want to get people to get 5,000 views of a sort of piece of information that we want to share. Then I think we're going to advertise. This middle bit, I think, is the one that we're all going to be using. I don't see the point of these on the right hand side or the top. I think that's what people are interested in, so it's being in there. But at the moment, you don't need to do it. You just need to think a bit smart, and you may have to use video. We have a business group. I wouldn't say it's wholly successful. Groups were used a lot in the early days. We've spent time interacting with them, but I think Facebook groups have taken over from this kind of thing. I haven't really come across a LinkedIn group that's busy now, but maybe one or two of you have. We keep the group going because I know LinkedIn are keen to do something with them, but what they're doing at the moment doesn't particularly work. We use LeadFeeder. I've noticed over the last month, though, because people have been working from home, they're not dialing out from their company addresses. So LeadFeeder has not been particularly good at the moment. So I suspect this won't improve again until people start working from offices. So that when what they do is called a reverse IP lookup. It looks at the address that somebody's come from, and it goes to a database and finds out where that address is registered, and then it knows which company. It can't tell you the individual. It can take a guess. But I suspect these tools for the next few months might not be as good as they used to be. Sources of free help. So neilpatel.com himself, brilliant, lots of digital marketing information. A guy called Brian Dean at Backlinko, again, very good. HubSpot put some amazing courses together now at academy.hubspot. There's Google Garage, which is useful. And then the government have now recently launched, only a week or so ago, National Career Service, find a course in the skills toolkit. They recognise a lot of people have got to get better at digital, and so they've launched these courses. So there's plenty of online how-to type courses out there.